Okay. Thumbnails posted, messages sent out. Noticing that I'm not getting the no video audio, or the no... Hang on. That means properties, not default. I think chat. Yeah, that should be it. There you go, you guys have music now. I don't know why OBS does that. I guess every time I update or something. Yeah. So I don't really know what else to do to these guys. I like that the contrast paint shows the pink through it, so I don't really want to get too into highlighting the green. But I definitely think we need to work on the red highlights. That's probably going to be the big thing. We also need to put the basing material on. As well, we got to do the desert color on all the stocks for the guns. Yeah, let's keep pushing. I think this guy was one of the examples that we worked on. We just got to push through the rest of them. And I even grabbed, while I was out today, So Flat Black, which we're going to try on the base rings. I'm at that point too where, like, if it looks good enough, I might just spend a day going back and redoing all the old base rings that I have. All of them. What? Immediate 0 viewers from full? That's crazy. I gotta start putting together a new video. It's gonna be a hobby video because the last video didn't do great and it's like slowly growing. So I might as well put out another video that won't do great. Right? Like, let's do it. I do really want to get this this how I made my freaking Chaos Knight Castigator video out though. I also kind of need to take home the Underworld stuff again. There's a tournament Saturday. Underworlds. Supposedly there's at least like 4 people going, so... Although, chances are there's gonna be more. Underworlds is one of those things, man. We're trying to push for it, actually, at the local store. I'm trying to get people to play Kill Team. But, like, I feel like a lot more people are trying to push everyone to play Underworlds. Because for a lot of them, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, it's literally a half hour to try to complete a game. Let's try to go through all these guys, get all the red highlights done. I do like the base idea though for the vet guard. Beige cloaks, black armor, or beige overcoats, black armor. Pretty good. Worked out pretty well. We'll have to see if I can get to that today, though. We got a lot of this to get through. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Gotta make some spots on these pop a little bit. Definitely want to work up the gun too. I feel like the gun didn't really get to where it needed to be color-wise from the base red that I used on it. Yo, yo, what's up, Slow? I think for now we're just going to focus on the red. I'll try to figure out a color to hit the gun with. Probably end up being like Wild Rider or something. The day is going alright. We're getting through these Kroot. Farstalkers done. Did I not do those? I thought I did them in Garagax. Gotta prepare for potentially an Underworlds tournament Saturday, as long as my schedule holds. Dude, I'm getting in a lot of tournaments. I gotta get more footage. Like, I've been, dude, for about an hour every night, I've been going over the equipment I have. I've been trying to think of, like, equipment I might need instead. All so that I can do, like, decent recordings of games and tournaments. I'm picking up a tabletop tripod. Because I need something that has better control over the camera. Like the base that I have for the camera right now, the neck joint for it is not set for the weight of an actual camera. It's set for cell phones. So I was noticing while I was trying to record stuff for the teams tournament, like I would look over and the camera would be like suddenly bent straight down. Which, yeah, it's not conductive to, you know, getting stuff done. Capturing good footage. So I'm getting an actual, like, locking mechanism. Badges, pink one is black and yellow, smile on it. Oh. That guard. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Like, stuff like that, I'm not really like super into focusing on that. As much as just trying to get the basic armor done. It could be something fun to do, maybe. I know one of our local players, he plays multiple teams, multiple factions, and he has one Land Raider, because there's a Land Raider drought in the US, apparently. So, what he's doing with that Land Raider is he's painting it all yellow, some black trim, and he painted the word taxi on the side of it. So he's going to use it for multiple teams. That's just weird little things. Because he does want to use it for multiple teams. Honestly, if you have a Space Marine Land Raider and you want to use it for multiple teams, just paint it black. And then put like no actual visuals on it. Do like metallic trim, make it just look like an off-the-line Land Raider and call it a day. But he thought it'd be funny for it to say taxi on it. Because Land Raiders are like massively useful in the current meta. They're so required. Like almost every Space Marine team we've come across that's done really well has at least one Land Raider in it. Because those things are so hard to kill. Plop a squad in there. That squad's gonna last till about turn 3, no problem. It's over. Yeah, Vulcan has been sold out forever because the salamanders are huge, which is weird because I don't see them that often in like tournament videos and stuff and like overviews of tournaments. I see them more like on local scenes, which that's probably where the sales for that go. Like people love the salamanders, and Vulcan's like a necessary for a salamanders list to work properly. And like, at least locally, we have one Salamanders player who has him. And yeah, he's really good. He's really good. Alright, that red's done. Let me just do this red arm. What's up? What's up, Jose? I'm gonna go with Jose. I keep getting thrown off because we have a person on the podcast I do on Saturdays named Josie. Now when I see like the common Jose name, I keep thinking Josie and it's messing with me. No, yeah, dude. Before the Muleth Vortex Beasts came back in stock in the US, you had to spend, I think it was like $220. And the justification was, oh, we pre-built it. We pre-built it for you. And then in all the pictures, all you see are like mold lines and stuff, and you're like, I really wish you didn't. Like, I don't. I see that you did this super quick so you could get a really good picture of it, and then you were just like, screw it, whatever. But like, I really wished you didn't, because now I have to figure out where all the mold lines are on this very large, multi-tiered, crazy model. And then I gotta clear them off. But yeah, Vulcan, that's getting hard to purchase. Land Raiders, because I think there was like one video that was put out by a big channel. I think it might have been Art of War or someone. They were basically just like, dude, Land Raiders. I know, I think Auspex Tactics or something. Like, someone basically pointed out that Land Raiders were like massively necessary in the general strategy of 40k right now for Space Marines. Just due to what they do. And I think like the moment someone said that, Land Raiders became impossible to purchase. It's just a thing, man. Meta chasers, it's crazy to think how much control over the marketplace and what's in stock a lot of these bigger strategy channels have. Because all they do is say like one thing, like this is the unit that will win you games. Next thing you know, everyone owns that unit. Like, actual truth. Now, for the orc conversion one, did they gut it? Way back when Land Raiders were new. This is me aging myself. I played 40k back in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and Land Raiders actually appeared back then as a new model you could purchase. There was one orc player locally who wanted to build a truck out of the friggin' Land Raider. So he basically cut the middle part out and gutted it, and then used terrain pieces to look like reinforced like junkyard paneling. So he had like a Land Raider truck that was just really cool looking. It was so good looking. He had like gun turrets glued to the side of it. It was so cool. That's my favorite thing. Man, I was so close to going orc forever ago, and I would have been orc right now. But like, the kind of orc player I would have been would have like cost me so much money. Because I would have leaned heavily into conversion. Because orcs, converted orcs look so cool. But you always need a basis for them. And since I don't 3D print right now, getting that basis together is like just about buying things off of Etsy or purchasing other models. And going from there. Because like, Defcoptas, that's cool. But Defcoptas converted from Space Marine or Chaos Space Marine bikes, that's even cooler. So now I'm buying 2 boxes for 1 model. And that's, that is not fiscally responsible. Speaking of which, new codexes. I've heard all the crying and complaining. about the custodes. We have a lot of local custode players as well, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear it more in any local games that I play. I mean, all I'm saying is I'm Thousand Suns. We don't have a codex yet, and in the last season, our codex was the worst. Like, considered to be one of the worst out of all codex friggin' rules possible. By the end of it. It was good at the beginning. One of the big issues with Games Workshop and rules writing, which is hopefully going to be different, but we don't know. Honestly, we don't know. They don't get creative with things until the end, right? Like, the final armies are usually the ones that become creative. It's seen in, like, AOS and stuff, because, like, the earlier armies that were released for AOS have extremely basic, bland rules. But then the later ones have these really intricate, interesting rules that play really well on the actual tabletop. Like, they have a lot of really good benefits. So the issue becomes, like, do you play a early army that gets a codex right away that's going to be, like, kind of bland and simple? Or do you play one later when there's, like, all those really cool rules coming out? And that's just, like, an awkward thing within, like, 40k rule writing, or even just Games Workshop rule writing in general. Because it happens all over the place. Consider that Kill Team, like, a lot of the earlier teams in Kill Team their rules are very basic by like, most accounts. I mean, we're getting a squad now that has the ability to teleport, like, units anywhere on the field as long as there's not line of sight to it. Like, we're already getting into the weird spectrum. So, like, maybe if Thousand Suns hold out long enough, our rules will be absolutely wild. Which could be cool. But it seems like they're trying to normalize a lot of them, because almost all the codexes dropped so far feel very samey. They all have kind of like the uppy-downy detachment, the mid-range detachment, the close-range detachment. Transport focused. It's just one of those things where by the end of it, you're just like, oh, I think everyone's going to be getting maybe the same thing. Although there's some teams now that have dropped that don't have anywhere near the normal amount of detachments. Mostly because they don't have a ton of units. I can imagine that this time around, Thousand Suns will probably get like 3 detachments, 3 or 4. There's really not much they can do if they're focusing on the Thousand Sun units to give us like a decent enough spread. We're probably going to get the Chrono detachment, which is going to be about healing and maybe movement. We're going to get probably the weird melee detachment. Like, they're going to give us a Zangor detachment, and it's not going to be good. Like, by all accounts, we're going to look at it and go, none of this is useful. It's very narrative. It'll be a very narrative detachment. You'll be able to play Crusades with it and be like, ooh, we did fun stuff during the Crusades. But, like, in a tabletop game, no one's going to want to run it because it's going to be so RNG, whether or not you're going to live, whether or not, like, there's going to be any benefit. I wonder if they'll do it like the enhanced Zangor. I'm trying to remember. Army of Renown, that's what they were called. the Army of Renown made it so that I think Invulnerables, the invulnerable save of regular Thousand Sun Marines was lowered, but then the Zangors all got Feel No Pain 5 on the field, and then they got a spell that allowed you to resurrect like 3 or 4 Zangors around. Which you could then echo on the field with the Cabal points and basically resurrect 6 Zangors, which you were losing more than 6 every round. Dude, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't. Lore changes. It just does. And the reality is, most of the people who point to the writing of what's been going on, a lot of that writing feels like it was written in a way by sort of like the hand of somebody trying to create lore within 40k, like, if that makes sense. The kind of idea that, like, the current leader of the Word Bearers basically created the religion that the Imperium runs on. It feels like his writing. Like he was trying to make something seem more massive than it really was. And then people are pointing to it as absolute truth. When even within the AOS spectrum, we're starting to realize that the lore that was written could just be outright lies. I mean, that's the whole point of the AOS 4.0 thing with the Stormcast, is that the Stormcast, every time they resurrect, their actual souls, like, fall. Like, they become less and less themselves, and more just kind of soulless husks that fight. Which wasn't what anyone was told. But the reality is that within the lore, maybe because of the spectrum of like who existed in the Imperium at the time, being like, yeah, men and women are in those armors, might have been detrimental to the Imperium as like the story. So like, you don't know. And I mean, let's be real. GW writing is usually at best mediocre. Like, sometimes it hits a little bit, sometimes there's some fun stuff, but like, for anyone to point to their writing and be like, this is God tier, is they're fooling themselves. Most of the writing is just indicative of like other more standard sci-fi fantasy writing, just kind of played out with a different background setting. It's kind of the problem that was stemmed from early on, because it falls in line with how GW handles like exterior media beyond the game itself. They want this game to be everywhere, right? And the business practice they decided they would employ to try to get 40k and AOS and everything in front of the masses was that, hey, do you own a video game company? Do you want to make a game for us? Our rates are really low for the split, so you'll get like more money for yourself for making the game. There's also a lot of freedom when you make the game. Like, we're not going to be breathing down your neck exactly. We might check some things, you know, just to make sure you're not like, oh yeah, the orcs are the good guys in the universe, don't worry. Like, or even then they might let that happen. I don't know. Like, they're completely fine with people going completely crazy, right? And they have lore masters, I guess, within the company, who these video game companies, exterior board game companies, just anyone can go to and be like, hey, is there anything like this? Is there, what kind of like eldritch horrors have been seen in the universe that I can maybe play off of? And then they'll like write up like, oh, well, this is my villain then based on the eldritch horror concepts that you guys have put out. Do you think this will work in that universe? And not be like one of those wild things that if it existed, everything would fall apart and like you guys might not want that. But then the person looking at it will be like, you know, it's fine. The universe is massive. This thing can exist in this whole corner killing everyone, and that's great, but like no one will hear about it outside of your game, and that's just how it works. So they're very open with that stuff, just like letting anyone do anything. And it was the same thing with the books. I think they did a little bit more to make sure the books weren't like absolutely crazy, but they were still very open to the people writing the books to just be like, do what you want. Is beige black Steel Legion? Because yes. I need to look at this. The whole reason I'm doing it is because there was a picture of Kasserkin. Orcs are technically good. Orcs are a force of nature. What's the, yeah, so Steel Legion, black, beige. Yep, that's what we're doing. Apparently. This is completely by random happenstance. There was a picture of Kasserkin that I saw once where they wore beige overcoats or beige cloth, and they had black armor plating, and I was like, that actually looks really good. I'm gonna use that. That's all. That's how far I got at choosing that color scheme, and I guess they're Steel Legion. So there we go. It worked. We did it. But the notion is that orcs are now kind of part of the fabric of our universe as almost almost like an it's like a, how would I put it? They're almost like our system's immune system, right? They're almost our universe's immune system. The idea is that Krorks could come back if the orcs themselves felt so threatened by something that it triggered enough of them to want to just be stronger and bigger than their opponent, and that like we'd start seeing Krorks again, because it's like one of those built-in things of just like, and we're gonna go Super Saiyan. This isn't even a 10th of my power. But like when they're not that, they sort of just adapt to what's near them. Which is somewhat kind of further pushing the idea of they are like the immune system of the universe. The idea is that it constantly tries to keep everything tip-top shape, right? Ready for anything kind of situation. That's what orcs really are, right? Like they go to a place and then they just start fighting, and everything in that area has to fight them, and everything in that area has to improve how it fights in order to continually hold the orcs back, which means that thing in that area that's fighting the orcs is now way more powerful than it ever was, which ostensibly means when a real threat arrives, which we've already seen that bigger threats distract the orcs from what they're doing, Now, not only is their opponent that they're constantly fighting strong, but they're also strong, which means now there's these two things that are going to turn and fight the enemy that are actually, like, constantly battling each other and constantly getting stronger. So they become that sort of situation of, like, we're forcing the universe to not become complacent and to constantly be ready for a war bigger than itself. Which is an interesting idea. And then if the rumor concepts are true about them, the whole idea that things like the Ultramarines are only as good as they are because the Orcs believe that that color blue means luck, right? Like, the fact that they think that color blue means luck improves the Ultramarines' chances in combat. So even though they fight the Ultramarines all the time, their belief also further enhances the Ultramarines' functions. That kind of stuff. Like, that weird oddity of, like, them helping on top of just being Orcs. I think it's a pretty cool concept. I certainly like Orcs for that. No, yeah, all the factions are like that, but I almost feel like if Orcs didn't exist in their manner, where fighting and killing them means that more get made. Like, literally, battle is how they reproduce. So technically, if you watch Orcs fight, you're technically watching orc porn. Let's be real. Like, it's like a give and take thing with them. They need to fight in order to expand their faction. So that's why they fight each other all the time. It's just expanding their numbers. And then at the same time, they're providing, in response, training and forced need for enhanced strength to everyone else. I don't know. It's just one of those cool little concepts. Because, like, yeah, the Aldari fight people and you have to, like, get better. But, like, Aldari technology is very stagnant. It is pretty high-end, but it's also very stagnant. Probably. Purple is stealthy. Although I think the notion of purple being stealthy is specifically for orcs. Because isn't the thought process, have you ever seen a purple orc? That's why purple orcs are the stealthiest orcs. So I think that's one of those things that only works for orcs and no one else. I ain't got no time to write books. You kidding me? Would be kind of cool though. Like, think about the idea of just like there being a an outpost, and like stuff keeps getting moved around and things go missing, and over time people think it's maybe like a chaos cult, or maybe like the Alpha Legions in the area, or maybe it's like Night Lords or something, when in reality it is actually just purple orcs. And the whole premise of what they do is they move stuff around. Like, they're the reason why when you're done a load of laundry, you're just missing a sock. Like, that kind of thing. And the whole purpose of it is to get you to be mad at something so you can fight it. Alright, see you, Nikita. I'd read that book. The story of the purple orcs that try to get people to fight each other. What up, Dragon? We're talking about fun orc things. And I'm thinking of a way to do a fun story with purple orcs. Because if purple orcs truly are the stealthiest of orcs, what if they have fun trying to get people to fight each other? By going to certain places and like messing with people's things to make them think that someone else at that like that colony or that outpost is like screwing with them. That'd be kind of funny. The story would just, and like the whole point of the story, it would sound like it is like some weird chaos invasion or something. Like anyone reading it would be like, dude, when are the cults gonna pop out? When are the when is the Alpha Legion gonna show itself? When are the Night Lords gonna like show up and start hucking corpses at people? But then like the end of the story after the whole planet burns is just like a couple orcs laughing. And like talking about the time they took that guy's shoe and threw it in someone else's room, and that caused the whole entire sector to kill itself. We is the cunningest. Someone mowing the yard outside? I guess so. Alright, reds are brightened up. Next step, we'll do the stocks for all the weapons. Get that Zamasi Desert down. Normally I just use this paint to highlight my Thousand Suns desert bases, but it is a really nice beige, which is why we're using it on the Vet Guard cloth as well. Then we'll have to do purple for a lot of the cloth. Beautiful. So you see anything at the indie direct you like, Dragon? Guessing you checked it out. Chainsaw. Someone's really clearing some shrubbery out there. sure he doesn't. Yeah, he has a revolver. I think most of the characters are gonna have something, except maybe the dogs. That's like gonna need to be beiged up. I think I'm going to try to continue to use Ephelim's. I have the data slate that shows that Ephelim's Underworld's team is basically like massively nerfed. So I'm going to have that on hand when I'm playing. I think there's 2 characters that got nerfed. Like 2 of the little guys that got nerfed, and then one big, the main character got nerfed as well. I think one of the cards got nerfed in the Rivals deck. So we have to pay attention to that. We do also need to pick a color for this thing. Oh, no handle. Okay. Don't think I want to beige this. This needs to be like a wooden color, so that's going to be a different color as well. Doggos don't need the beige. Dual revolvers absolutely need to be beiged. Been seeing a lot of videos recently. People are putting out talking about how a lot of the different tabletop games have detail creep that's coming up. It's an interesting concept. The idea that more detail in a miniature model is actually a problem. I kinda get it, but at the same time, depending on your approach to painting, it's actually not that big a deal. I can see why it disheartens a lot of like new people though. What up, Arturo? We're trying to get through the last of the details for my Farstalkers. I'm gonna need to take home my stuff for Underworlds. I need to write down. I have a book now that I keep for like scoring purposes and stuff, and I kind of want to write down in it the basic info for how a game of Underworlds goes in like edited down terms, kind of like my shorthand. because of this tournament on Saturday. I'd rather be able to like quickly sit down and just go through it. Minimize setup times, minimize organizational times. Just go. Yeah, man, I like them. I actually ended up liking them. I didn't think I was gonna like them because like Crude are weird to me. Where's my Wind Rider? Where is it? It's Evil Sun Scarlet. Let's pull that out. I kind of have an idea with this gun too that I want to do. Like Crude are just an oddity in the 40k universe, right? Like it's not just me. They hunt with dogs and muskets and like flintlock revolver type stuff. Even though they have access to a ton of like higher end technology because of their alliance with the Tau, but of course the Tau won't give them that because, you know, deep down the Tau are a little xenophobic, just like humanity. They'd rather not risk giving an ally extreme levels of technology that they could then turn around and use on them. I mean, the core of Kroot is like interesting, right? Like they consume biomass in a similar fashion to the Tyranid, and then they gain traits and alterations in their forms and shape based on the things they ate. So like that's kind of cool, I guess. I do feel like this last drop for the Kroot is kind of like the desperate attempt to get all the people who claim they're fans of the Kroot to purchase stuff like that. Like, I do feel like a lot of Tau collectors who are just like, oh yeah, I love Kroot, they don't use them, so they don't buy them. Because why would you buy something you don't use, even if you like it lore-wise? And I feel like that's the big notion going forward with Games Workshop is we need to produce the things people purchase. So they did like a massive overhaul for the Kroot to try to get everyone to start buying them. To apply a shader up here. Oh yeah, they definitely look a lot better. There's good rationale behind why you would purchase them, but even with the models looking as good as they do, if there's not enough people who are like, ooh, strategically crude are great, therefore I'm going to purchase them. If you don't have enough of those people, that means the models don't sell, which ends up meaning, like, usually bad things for that faction going forward. That is actually a little confusing. Maybe because there is such a wide variety of orcs, like, already. Maybe that's why they opted out of giving us more orc models. Because there are so many orcs, man. The more I look into it, the more I'm just like, oh shit, there's more? Like, I just don't expect it. Every single time that someone brings up like how many orcs there actually are, I'm confused. It's cool to see Badrock and the Flash Gits be as powerful as they are. Although I don't know, is that still the same? Is that still the same for the Codex? Badrock and the Flash Gits. Which sounds like an old 80s band. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Badrock and the Flash Gits. Then we got to do the purples. Which we will do as a darker purple, so I got to find my Xerius. See, that's what people say, but like, I think didn't Art of War just do the new Codex fight, the orcs versus the custodes, and they built for the Codex. They didn't build the old list, and then I think the custodes player won. I don't know. I have to watch that. People in my Discord are talking about it. They've taken pictures of the army lists and are talking about like, oh, I need to get 2 more Terminator champions or whatever it is that seem to have been used. I don't think you're going to get a lot of flavor out of a Custodes Codex for a while, because there aren't a lot of characters, or not necessarily characters. There aren't a lot of model options in the Custodes list. I feel like Custodes were almost meant to be like I feel like they were probably meant to be like how the Agents of the Imperium are. I could easily have seen that. The whole idea of just like, oh yeah, let's I'm gonna play my Salamanders, who just happen to have some Alarans as an ally. Check it out. Like, genuinely feel like that might have been the hope of what they were gonna do. But then people were just like, oh, let's play them as a whole army. It's like, why? Why would you do this? Most of their stuff is Forge World. Like, most of the important stuff is Forge World. I guess one of the key core things, supposedly, is that Custodes, I guess the Custodes of now are also the Custodes of Heresy, so you could technically, I think if you have a Custodian army in 40k, play Heresy, right? Like, that was like one of the big draws for it, for Heresy players, is you have that kind of crossover army. There's no purples. Genuinely, I thought that was one of the main reasons the Custodes existed. At this point. Also, it's that fun halfway marker between playing Knights with like 6 units on the field and then playing Space Marines with like 12. Instead of 6 or 12, you get 8. It's just one of those oddities, I guess. But I feel like a lot of the issue people are having with the Codex now is something similar to what elite teams are in Kill Team. They feel good statistically because no one likes to roll 80 dice and only hit like 4 times, right? Like, who in this chat is like, dude, I love it when I roll 80 dice and land 2 wounds. I love it. No one wants to do that. So everyone wants to play the elite squad who gets to roll less dice, so you don't have to own as much dice. Always a positive. And then all the dice you roll pretty much hit. Feels good. That was a big thing when I fought my knights against the local Necron player. Even though I lost that fight pretty heartily because I couldn't really do anything. Because I kind of played it dumb. Since I ran Kairos, and that's not what you want to do at all. Like, I ran Kairos because I have a Kairos. And if any of you know anything about me, it's that if I have something, if I put time into painting it, I want to use it at least once. That's all. I just want to use it once. I don't even care if it's not good. I don't really... Yeah. Is that bright? Darken it. I don't even care if it's like, if it's not good. I don't even care if like it's mediocre at best in use. I mean, I built it, I painted it, I want to use it. So this was my game where I was going to get Kairos out of my system, because until the Demon's Codex drop and Kairos changes, he is not a good model. By any account. He should be cheaper than the Lords of Change, honestly. Like, the Lords of Change have so much more potential in combat than he does at this point. Do this as a very thin coat. One thin coat. Crackle paste. So to those who know me from before, they know Gigantic's back out, and that's been consuming a lot of my time. No narratives as of right now. I do want to do battle reports, though. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull off kill team battle reports anytime soon. Underworld's battle reports, yes. And one of my plans for the stream going forward, once I start finishing all these projects up, is we're going to do a sort of group think. Not group think tank idea. Where I'm going to have like 2 cameras set up. And we'll be playing like smaller skirmish concepts on camera. Like, we're going to be playing it as like a, what's the best maneuver here? What do we think in unison? And we're going to try to like play the game where we sort of come up with strategy as like a team over longer periods of time than the game might normally take. That way we can kind of experience stuff that you can tinker with as like a strategy or a fun idea. We can kind of explore notions of how characters work live on camera. Because I think that'd be cool. I hope that would be cool. I hope you guys would be down for that. Because I'm a learn by doing kind of person. I mean, there's people out there who could look at the stats on a character sheet and immediately know how it's going to work in live. I get the gist of it, but then I need to see it. Because I want to see all the facets of it. Like, people know that flash gets are great, right? Flash gets are good Overwatch. But I need to see the counterpoint. I need to see the moment you play a Thousand Suns player and he temporal shifts a flamethrower squad into your flash kits so that you can't overwatch them, and then they just annihilate your flash kits. Speaking of which, I'm pretty sure temporal shift is only your shooting phase. I'm like 1,000% sure that that's what it is. But in the off chance that it's any shooting phase, I'm going to take a look at it real quick. There's no way it's any shooting phase. It would be the strongest ability in the entire game. Yeah, your shooting phase. When we get to the leader unit, I need to do something. Because we bought a So-Flat Black. Because I want to see how So-Flat Black looks. I think on the fusion gun or whatever the Tau gun that he's using is, I want to try to put a black stripe on it using the So-Flat. Because there's this person at the local store who does most of her painting right now on her models with So-Flat paint. I think she thins it down. I'm not sure. Like, this is literally going to be our first step as a community, live on camera, where I attempt to use a type of paint I've never used before. We're going to see what might need to happen with it. Because if I need to thin it down, that's fine. It should be water-based because it's acrylic, which means water should be enough to thin it in a pinch. So we can kind of just do that. And then I'll be able to give the verdict of how the paint works live on chat. Because honestly, if So-Flat is as good as I'm looking at, it might be worth for some people who have access to it, because art supplies are weird like that, where some places might not have it. It might be worth looking at them to see if there's a couple that are of a color you might want. Like, honestly, if it goes on smooth and is very opaque, which is how it shows on the bottle, like, I think the bottle was $8. And it's this much paint, which is probably 2.5 times as much paint that you would get out of like a normal. Actually, no, this is probably 3 times. This is 2 fluid ounces versus. Does this even say? Do any of these say? Hell yeah, Shammy. Doing croup. And what's up, Dylan? So 0.4 fluid ounces, 2 fluid ounces, $8. And there are a bunch of these that are actually really good color. You cannot airbrush most of them though. They will have warning labels that usually say don't airbrush because there's usually like cobalt or something in them. So you mostly want to use them with physical paint stuff. But the reality is like that black, that's actually, this is the color like put over, like this is the pigment put over a part of this that is supposed to be like a chevron, like a black white chevron, so you can kind of see the opacity. I can't see anything. Like this is actually insanely flat. So I am interested to see how it looks because there are most of the colors in the So Flat line are not low opacity at all. Like the yellows, the greens, the reds, all of it. They are very flat, very opaque. And if that's the case, if you know your army needs like a bright color of some kind that you don't want to have to put too many layers down for, or that you need to be bright without kind of mixing what's below it into it just through low opacity problems, So Flat might be for you to at least look at and be like, oh, that green works. Oh, that red would be perfect for this highlight. That purple would be amazing. Because I have, from the Citadel line, I have like 3 different purples, and I hate every single one of them. None of them look good. Like, they take forever to put on. So much of my stuff, I do purple. Like, I like purple on a lot of my things. But, like, the amount of layers I have to apply, the amount of, like, detail I have to put into just making one thing of purple look okay, it's annoying. But So Flat has like 2 tones of purple that are perfect. And they are very, as far as I can tell on the bottle, opaque. The worry is that the paint itself is going to be really thick. Because I don't know, I haven't used it yet. How's everyone doing today? Good to see everyone popping in on a Thursday. For those who are new, we usually talk about 40k stuff, but this is kind of a chill stream, so like almost any topic is fine, I guess. You know, with some caveats. So if anybody's wondering anything, anybody wants to like converse on a topic, I am down. Gonna treat this like a group paint night, since I don't really go to those, or at least I tried, but one of the local stores didn't really have a lot of people showing up for it. They might move it to Wednesday though, I don't know. The guy's trying to save it, but if not enough people are gonna show up, he's just not gonna do it. Which, fully agree. Because it's his time he's spending after work to just like have people there painting, trying to get the hobby side of 40k going. Because apparently a lot of people that go to that store buy paint. Like a lot. That is a very big paint location. Sadly, I have not found Fanatic locally, Army Painter Fanatic, because I wanted to try it out. You know, everyone's talking about it right now. It'd be cool to put out a quick little video. What'd you lose? Dude, I hate this little heart symbol in chat. Oh, you lost your sergeant already going into Turning Point 2? Jesus. I gotta finish any of those t-shirt designs that I've had. I have one that's close and one that's I want to redo. I want to try to like do something different with it. Lunch break. That is the normal way of things with my stream. I feel like this is like the worst time of day to stream for like people who want to hang out long term and talk about stuff. This is the time of day you stream when you get people for like 30 minutes to an hour, because it's like work breaks, lunch breaks. But I work nights. Oh, nice. Pre-painting KT Nightmare bases. Yeah, the Black Templar one's almost done, I think. I feel like. I don't know. I'm still struggling to, like, get to the end of a digital piece of work and to feel good about it. Because my physical approach to art is so different than my digital. And by the time I'm done a digital piece, it doesn't feel like I did it. Like, it feels like something else did it, and that I kind of was just there as it was happening. Which, I don't like that feeling, like, at all. So, I don't know. It might be another situation where I go back in and redo it again. I like this bird. I like how the bird came out. It's kind of dark because we're working with white stuff, and I don't want the white stuff to be hyper blinding for any of you. I think we're gonna Garrigax their bases. Because Garrigax is a top tier paint. Upcoming MFM. Trying to connect acronym, but brain on the fritz. These are for kill team, but you can use them. Oh, is that... No, that's not the mini for the month. Or is it the mini for the month? Or, oh, Munitorium Field Manual. Okay. We're going to see... What is it? Okay, so Munitorium Field Manuals tend not to change points for the new armies that just drop for codexes. I think historically, right? They haven't done that. They mostly just adjust armies that already exist, and then they try to see how the points values play out for what's been applied. Because don't the codexes tend to come with the points values in them for people to use? And then they want to see how it plays out in a couple tournaments that they track, and then they'll make the changes after the fact. Because I thought the last codexes that dropped, there was a MFM that dropped like a month after and nothing changed about those factions. So we should be seeing Dark Angel, right? There should be Dark Angel updates because Dark Angels have been around for a bit. Maybe. I don't know. It probably depends on how many people play Dark Angels, so how much info they have to run with. Doggos. But yeah, these are the Farstalkers from Kill Team. Grey Knights have the Gene Stealer cult problem. Don't look at their win rate and think, oh, that means I can just play them and win. Whoever's playing them are doing crazy things with them. I think I saw a tournament recently on Wargames Live where they did show off a Grey Knight game, and that Grey Knight player did some things. Although I think their approach right now, meta-wise, at least for some of the local scenes, is to just Dread Knight their faces off. Like, I think that's everyone's goal now with Grey Knights, right? It's basically just another Knights army, almost. You just play Dread Knights all day long. It's just Dread Knights and like a couple uppy-downy squads to do points. I don't know, like, just in general, I don't know if Deathwatch are going to get much. Because Deathwatch, the whole concept is that you just buy a bunch of different factions things and then put them together in a squad. It's for the people who've been collecting Space Marines forever and want to have their own special faction. Yeah, Terminators are starting to really see a lot of limelight in the modern game. Because Terminators, they've been working really hard this edition to make Terminators feel like Terminators. Because apparently the idea before was that they were just Space Marines with better saves, and that didn't really help when the AP made them just Space Marines. So now there's like all these special rules that Terminators get to try to make them more durable than ever. Scarab Occult Terminators reduce the wound roll for the enemy if it's above their toughness by 1. And I feel like that's more common than people think. Like, a lot of the times it's related to like a poppable ability or needing a champion in the squad, or maybe like a command point function that works. But like, it's the same thing. It's just trying to make it so that the enemy has a harder time wounding these units than anything else. That's their new filter. And that's enough of a filter to just cause problems. The main thing you need against Terminators is anti-infantry, which not a lot of people run. Because infantry tends to be fodder, and like, most of the guns that I have that have anti-infantry on them usually don't have things like dev wounds. So like, all you're getting is the anti-infantry side of it. Which is super useful when it's a 4 against things like Scarab Occult Terminators. Because I can reduce your wound roll by 1, but crits are still considered crits. So a roll of a 4+ on an anti-infantry weapon is still a crit. So nothing I can do about that. It's just no one uses it. Yeah, that's kind of where the adjustment though is for 10th, is that you need like more mini units. People will build like that one brick squad that's meant to do like a ton of good things, but I feel like a lot of people are leaning into fodder more. Because if your fodder lasts for like 3 turns, it did its job. Its whole purpose is to just be somewhere on the board to score points. That's all fodder is used for now. Score points, body block, you know, basics. And if I can fill the board with like 180 Zangors or 20 Rubric Marines, like there's that point where you're like, oh, I could do more with 180 Zangors. I'm probably not gonna kill more, but I can do more. I mean, who out there is gonna easily have the thing built? Like, there's the meta leans so hard still in the direction of monsters and vehicles that if you go enough anti-infantry and blast to deal with my 180 Zangor army in 3 turns, you're not winning that tournament. You have chosen to defeat my army and then lose the tournament. Because it's just going to be like one guy with a knight's army. He's going to be like, oh, that's a lot of little shots that aren't doing damage to me. Here I come. Is it 114? We'll be able to kick into my vet guard for a bit while we wait for these bases to dry. Yeah, could be cool to see the points changes. I'm looking forward to seeing if there's any demons points changes for the better. I would hate to see some demons that I use go up, making an idea I had not work anymore. Because I'm genuinely thinking of doing a 4 brick of blue horrors as like a support brick of demons. Because I feel like that's just enough, right? Like that's just enough blue horrors to be like, all right, 2 are going to be in deep strike, 2 are going to be in infiltrate. I'm going to body block turn 1 with 2 of them. And then as you leave your zone, after I've been given enough time to position properly to deal with your stuff, I will start deep striking other blue horrors in the back to capture points and quarters and do all, like, that's kind of in my head as like an interesting idea. Because blue horrors do survive. If you consider that a lot of people are leaning into lower amounts of shots at higher damage output to potentially bring down monsters and vehicles, if you're going to fire 1 really heavy shot or like 3 really heavy shots into my blue horrors, they're not dying. 4+ invuln, it's not the best, but it's good. But the ability for me to be like, you killed 2, I got 1 back up. I don't know. That's just, it's too good of a function. It really served me well when I fought against one of the local Eldar teams. He was trying some stuff out with like a Wraith Knight and things. And like, it took him 2 turns to wipe out my body blockers. And my body blockers prevented his Corsairs from moving into the midfield. That was a big thing. It took him way longer to get to the points. And then just chucking one of my my changeling in his back line kind of screwed over a lot of his units. It killed the bulk of his Farseer squad, which meant his Farseer squad had to keep making battle shock tests every round, and he never passed them. That was so rough. He rolled the first time and he was just like, oh god. So he lost all the points for the back capture point, and then he just kept not rolling well. That's a huge feels bad moment. Farseer led squad just couldn't make battle shock tests. Have to paintbrush off the top of this guy's foot. I kind of love when the battle shock stuff happens, though. Because, like, so many people talk so badly about battle shock in the game, but, like, it really does swing games. Because I kept his Falcon Grav tank in combat with my Terminators because of battle shock. Like, battle shock was the thing that made that possible. Because if he left that combat, he was probably going to die. Because he had, like, 2 wounds when he got the battle shock. And he really wanted to move the tank over to, like, the other side of the field. Yeah, crank the brightness. That's lowering it. Boom. Because now we got to work on these bad boys. We need to start grabbing the rest of them. But let's try the So Flat first. This is the Kroot theme song. Come on. So Flat. First time opening. It's an unboxing stream right here. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. We're gonna use this. I'm not gonna use what's inside. Oh, we also have to brush off the top of his foot before it dries. Yeah, no, battle shock is, if you do it right, it's brutal. Or if you get it done right. And I know everyone's like, ah, knights suck because of their focus on battle shock. I think they're pretty good. I think when used properly with things that force battle shocks consistently and lower battle shocks and do all that kind of crazy stuff, I think it's actually really good. There's a lot of people who do the combining of battle shock function. I think mostly Nurgle demons have like really good battle shock drops. I think from Tzeentch, the only good ones are Blue Horrors for the battle shock drops. Because man, you merge the Dread Aura with the like Blue Horrors aura, that's -2. Average thing in the game is like 5, 6, or 7. Yeah, it's not good. 5 becomes a 7. I think what's the Black Templar? Is Black Templar leadership 5 and you can't adjust it? Like that's why everyone uses it, because you're basically guaranteed to score at all times. Because it's very difficult to roll under a 5 on 2 dice. Space Marines. Black Templar. Righteous Crusaders. Feel no pain 6 and leadership characteristic of 5. So that's good. Feel no pain and leadership. So where do we put this black line? Actually, before we do that, I need to go to the bathroom. So we were gonna, we'll just do this. Be right back, guys. Alright, I'm back. Reactivate. Oh. Yeah. Bad experience learning, or like, did the person you play kind of, were they an asshole? Which, that does happen. Ooh, this is really smooth. because like usually when I play against new people in the game, I try to at least lead people to understand my actions. Like, if someone tells me, hey, I'm gonna move this character to here, right? Like, I'll usually let them know the series of possibilities of like actions that I could take to counter them. Like, I could be like, you could move up there, but just so you know, this guy's a flamethrower, or this is the one with my grenade or something. Like, I try to at least let people know what's about to happen if they do it, so that their weighting of risk feels about right. Ooh, that dries really smooth. Nice. Oh, dude, no. First game always. Were they doing like a tournament or something? Because like I don't know, I would probably have tried to set up playing against at least one of the people on like an off day or something, because like I would put it to you that a proper learning game of Kill Team, the first 2 rounds of Kill Team, because they're the most important, the first one for positioning, the second for combat, should probably take about 3 hours, if done well, to give you at least a full scope of concept of what's happening on the field. Let me go grab the rest of my boys. Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. It does, but you do, like, something you'll learn in this game very commonly is that a lot of the people, I mean, dude, most of us have social disorders of some kind, in a multiple facet of level. Like, we have some form of social disorder to make us so interested in games like this. And that kind of plays out in how we interact with the people within the game itself. I think I need to turn the brightness down for you guys. It's up. There you go. So, like, you'll get people who don't understand that just because they know something doesn't mean that everyone knows something, right? Like, on one hand, if you showed up to a tournament, like an actual tournament, right? Like, full tilt, you know, pay money to get in tournament, and you were like, hi, this is my first game. Yeah, okay. Probably not the best way to approach, but if it's literally a learning game, as you're saying, like, that, it does take time to at least get that info together to be able to make better decisions as to what's happening on the field. To know, like, what to ask for, like, oh, who has Blast, who has Torrent, stuff like that. Who has Indirect. Like, picking up on terminology and concepts. Like, I'm still doing that for 40k, personally. Like, I'm starting to learn, like, if my army's not really designed to deal with an average of toughness 11, I need to, like, figure out who is what. I do need to figure out, like, the unique abilities. Like, this was an issue when I fought the Tyrannid player at that tournament. He had almost, I think, one of every single monster that the Tyrannid have access to. I think that was his army list. Was literally the Psychic Norn, the non-Psychic Norn, Hive Tyrant, Swarm Lord. Like, it was one of everything. And if you're familiar, like, I was already kind of familiar with Tyrannid to the point where I knew that most of their leader units have tons of different abilities, like most of their monsters. But, like, I don't know all the monster abilities. And I didn't quite know what to expect, because I assumed a lot of it was just stats, but there were some that were like, oh, when you target me with an attack before you roll, I can declare that this unit won't take the damage from it. So, like, if you're gonna fire at me with, like, a single shot hard cannon, like, I'll be able to say no. So you're gonna have to make a decision. And the way he worded it, it made it sound like that was his detachment rule to me, like, when I heard it. So I assumed his detachment was, like, straight up once per game he could just be like, no. And that ruined a lot of my plans until I realized it was just one of his units, and I could have been shooting at the other units, like, all the time. Because I've only fought my local Tyrannid player twice, and he leans into the Molochs, those giant freaking snake creatures. He loves those. So, like, those are the ones I'm kind of used to. And the guy I fought had no Molochs. So, like, it was like new territory for me. And I kind of got screwed for it. But that's the idea of going to tournaments. You put in reps to try to, like, get used to the rules and ideas. Figure out more about what you need to ask for when a game starts, stuff like that. And it's the same thing with Kill Team. Knowing that you should be asking for blast and torrent profiles and weapons, indirect, like that kind of stuff. It takes a minute for you to figure out that that's what you need to do, but once you figure it out, like, everything tends to be a lot better. Well, I don't think these were his friends, right? These were just other people in the place that he went who saw that you were playing Kill Team and decided to come over and insert themselves. Again, socially aggressive. It is a trait that a lot of the people who play Warhammer tend to have. I'm gonna get all their coats done, or at least started. I think my local group, my local store, the people in it, there are a few like that, but there's also a lot more who tend to be more patient about teaching rules. Because I know my local store ran a Necromunda campaign, and like a lot of the people who played in that Necromunda campaign were new, like absolutely new to Necromunda. So like they taught them how to play Necromunda while playing games. They actually, I think the guy hosting it showed up. He set aside like 3 days for like a month or something, where he would show up with his stuff to run scenarios that people could watch and ask questions. Like he actually played games against himself in front of people to be like, it does anything here, do you have a question about any of the actions I'm taking? So like the first couple turns he would spend doing an action, explaining why he did the action, and explaining why like the dice rolls were what they were. And then he would do like a round where if someone saw him do something and be like, wait, so why'd that happen? He'd be like, okay, let me go over that. So you have that with you. And it was just like one of those things where you kind of like learn, he taught by showing how all of it worked in sequence, like in the grander symphony of a live game. Like, oh, why did you reroll there? Oh, why did that blow up in your hand? Like, he even developed some scenarios where, like, he rolled really well, but since he'd been rolling well already, he was like, all right, let me say that instead of this roll, I rolled this roll. This character now blows up. And people were like, oh, that's how that works? He's like, yep. Nice. I think their Necromunda campaign either went on hiatus for a little bit with the release of 10th, or they actually completed it and they're getting ready to start a new campaign. I can't remember. It was one or the other. Like, I think they completed the beginner campaign and might go into like an actual campaign. That guy has a bolt gun. I've heard it's fun, but it's also very random. I've talked to the person about it. Like, you have to be okay with the randomness in your game, which a lot of people are, because it's narrative. It's just, for me, it's a feels bad man moment. If I have like a character that I put into a game where I'm like, this is his name, he's this kind of a person, he has this personality, and then he dies like that turn, it's like, oh, alright, I guess that's fine. Also, they were doing a limited campaign because they didn't want people to have like too powerful of stuff on the field, so I think they did no vehicles. That was like one of their big rules. So you could only take like regular infantry size soldiers and stuff. And the guy running it was kind of hoping that the people playing, like the veteran players, weren't going to go hard sweat mode, but like one of the players did. Like, one of the players was like, I have an ammo type for everything. I balanced my list to be able to do anything that needs to happen in the game. And it's like, all right, man, you're playing new players. Calm down. But like, there's been some matchups in that game when I was at the store for a few of them. Like, I was playing a game of 40K and they were playing their campaign in the back of the store. And some of the matches, man, they sounded like the problem people have with games like Warcry. Like, they rolled the campaign mission to be something that one of the teams was able to pull off very quickly. I think one of the missions was to get to the center of the map, get supply boxes, and get out. And in the first total round, one of the players got all the supply boxes out. Because his team was, like, quick enough that they were able to just get to the middle of the field and then conga line the supply boxes out of the field. It happened in a turn. This is the fastest game I'd ever seen. They showed up in the store, I think in round 4 of my 40K game, and they were done before my round 5 ended. It was so crazy to see. The guy playing the opposing team was like, I have nothing on my list that could have, like, helped me in this moment. No, yeah, that's a good way to approach any game, really. So, okay. Story time! So I play Gigantic. I played Gigantic back in the day. I think it was like 6 years ago before it was shuttered because no one was playing it. One of the biggest issues with Gigantic is there's a massive skill ceiling in that game between knowing what you need to do and being able to pull it off. And like being able to build your heroes well, being able to build the team comp you're on well, being able to oppose what your enemies are doing well. And the new player mindset is very, what can I do for myself to like kind of feel like I'm doing the best possible output that I can. But that's not the total game. Like, if you're going up against an arm or a squad that's heavy on debuffs, maybe go cleanse. It's not going to be great for your healing, but it'll prevent the enemy from being able to capitalize on one of their best assets. Like that kind of stuff. And then you have to cleanse well, because I think cleanse only occurs once. And then once it's done, it's over. You have to like wait for your cooldown. So new players in Gigantic, it is a hard time because they're all playing from the perspective of, oh, this is just a hero shooter. This is just a simple game where as long as I out aim my opponent, I win. Nope. That is not the game, sir. But a lot of us veteran players were really good at the game. So all the new players that kept coming in to try to start playing with us, we would raffle stomp them. And the more that was happening, the more we realized like people were just leaving, right? Like they were just walking away. The player count was going down and down and down. The queues were getting longer and longer and longer. And it was literally because there was this ocean of us who were really good at the game, and then an ocean of people who wanted to play but didn't want to like learn, or at least didn't enjoy the idea that there were these better players than them who really didn't like how they played. And it basically just, that was one of the key things early on that just outright killed that game. It was hard to learn, and the community in it wasn't exactly forthcoming with trying to get you to learn it. They were just as willing to run around 5-man pre-made raffle stomping pubs as anything else, and it caused a lot of problems with player growth. And the new game's kind of like that still. So the re-release of it didn't they didn't figure out a way around it. They gave people a little bit more of a tutorial, but like the tutorial doesn't really go over the concept of roles that well. Like I still see people streaming the game who talk about it from the perspective of, oh, I'm gonna go what's best for DPS, and it's like, you don't know what's best for DPS because you don't know the full facet of the game. Ooh! What's up, Dodger? Thanks for the donation. Because I was trying to explain to a guy why Charnok's burn ability, if he's going up against armor and purify, isn't good. Like, if your opponents are mostly armor and purify, you need to go triple fireball instead. And he was just like, nah, it's just trash. There's no reason to go it. You always want to go burn. And it's like, dude, you go up against friggin' Rutger Margrave with a Sven with cleanse, you're literally doing a quarter of your damage than you see in the games against pubs that don't go armor cleanse. And he just didn't understand that. So it's just is what it is. It's why that's my favorite part about that game. I love that game for this. It's the reason why I play it, is how crazy it is to recognize what your opponent's team is, what that comp's going to achieve, and then as you're leveling, recognizing what your opponents are starting to do with their builds, and then making the adaptation to be able to counter it. That's the whole purpose of that game. And like, so many people just don't understand it.
Poggers.
Poggers. Oh, there it is. Jesus. Streamlabs, super slow. I was wondering why I didn't hear anything for the super chat. But yeah, thanks again for the dono. It will go towards my my Emperor's Children fund. I'm already decided that I'm probably gonna stop spending money on like Underworlds and 40k stuff. Even though I really want to do a triple Demon Prince Thousand Suns shell game list, I have an idea on how we can do it with the Morghast models. Not Morghast, it's Bone Reapers. I kind of want to pull them up to show you what I'm talking about. So I have one Demon Prince with wings, and I have one on foot Demon Prince, and I have this idea about how I'm going to make, I guess, get to the 3 Demon Prince level, because that's the thing, right? Like, Demon Princes are no longer, you can only have 1, you can take 3. And my idea, if I can find them, and I think one of my local stores have access to these. I think they're at one of my locals. If not, I can try to check the store this weekend. Studio mode. Right monitor. So I have a standard Chaos Space Marine Demon Prince, and I am thinking to do these. I'm gonna paint them like they're energy, like they're just gonna be energy, pretty much. I want them to feel like the one Demon Prince that I have maybe created images of himself to then use on the field, so that he can be like the triple winged Demon Prince that then has, I have 3 uppy downy units at that point that are very hard to kill. And they all give me a decent amount of Cabal points. Like, they're really good, people don't use them. And I get it, I get it. The idea is one of them would have Lord of Forbidden Lore. That way, I could technically uppy downy and then Lord of Forbidden Lore these units like elsewhere to get to the points I need to like cleanse and stuff. So yeah, I would have one Winged Demon Prince, two of these guys painted to look like spell energy with some augments to have Thousand Sun stuff on them. And then I would have two of these guys for the on foot Demon Princes for their energy. And I would just need their bases to be like worked up because Demon Princes aren't actually that big. I'm getting a phone call. Hang on. Alright, I might have to leave early because I gotta help install a fan at my parents' new place, and I'm one of the few people who actually knows how to do that. So... they're gonna get everything together. We probably got about a half an hour. We're not gonna finish... we're probably not gonna finish all of this. All the coats and stuff, but we're gonna get there. Hopefully I can stream tomorrow. I don't know what's happening tomorrow. And then hopefully I can get to that tournament Saturday and actually record some of it. Be nice. But yeah, Ozark Bone Reapers. I want to use them as basically Demon Princes. As like the energy-based images of Demon Princes for my army. Because I think... I have ideas in my head of triple Demon Prince on foot armies. That way I have 3 stealth auras all over the place, just helping people out. Like, I have all these weird concepts that I kind of want to use, but I need the models, and I honestly don't want to buy 4 more Demon Prince boxes, because they're 60 or 80 a piece or some BS. What are they? Armies of Chaos. Thousand Suns. I know why they're as much as they are. Yeah, they're 80 a piece. Because they give you a ton of stuff. A single Demon Prince box can build a AOS Demon Prince that's either winged or not winged with 3 different weapon options. And then the same thing for 40k. There's a 40k body model. There's 2 different neck positions for where the heads are going to go. Like, there's so much. There's like 5 head options for undivided or specific faction heads. Like, there's a lot in those boxes that I do not need. And I love the idea of 1 Demon Prince and then 2 sort of magical mirror images of that Demon Prince running around the field. In the form of Ozark Bone Reapers. Because they do look cool. I think we need to put that into play. I think my one local store has the flying ones. I don't think they have the on foot ones though. And this is kind of a thing when you're trying to budget your 40k purchases. You look around for stuff where you're like, oh yeah, I could use this instead. So the other question is, do I have the bases that I need for the on foot ones? Because the base size for the flying Ozark Bone Reapers is the right size base for Demon Princes. But the on foot ones are slightly smaller, which means I'm gonna need 2 on foot bases that work. And we're probably gonna build up the actual physical base with cork. We're gonna use all the cork that I bought to get some really nice height increasing standing. That's the plan, though. I do want more Demon Princes. There's a kid at the local store who plays Death Guard, and his list became 6 Demon Princes. I think it's because I told him that that was now possible, and it was something I was thinking of doing. So I think he thought of it as well and looked at the frickin' Death Guard options and thought that the Death Guard Demon Princes were actually really good. So he built into it, and he says he likes using them. So I think it'd be cool if we went up against each other. Thousand Sun 6 Demon Prince list versus Death Guard 6 Demon Prince list. See how it works. So those things are shocking. Like, so many people who fought me at that tournament, if they got into combat with the Demon Prince that I had, the one guy who was covering everyone with his aura, if they got into combat with him, he always shocked them for how good he was in, like, melee. And how survivable he was against so much of the oncoming damage. They were usually confused by it. They are good. I like them. So the question is, this tournament coming up, this 4-person team tournament, I think I'm gonna have to talk to one of the guys who's going to the Underworlds tournament about it, because he's also on the team. I need to see what he thinks is gonna happen list-wise. Because some team tournaments, the way they work now, they say that you can't take units from a specific detachment type between any lists, which means if somebody goes knights, usually they've even said that they won't accept you going Chaos Knight and Imperial Knight. You can only take one knight detachment. And in that instance, if somebody brings either a Chaos or Imperial Knight to the field, you can't take an ally of knights. So I'm gonna see what this guy thinks, because I think he's been to the Palladium tournaments before. And if their general packet is you only get one detachment, I'm gonna need to see on the team if anyone's running knights or demons, because my current list is Thousand Suns, Knights, Demons. And if anybody's running any of those, I need to make a decision. And I feel like it could be cool going the shell game list that I have an idea for. Just 3 winged demon princes, just flying around the board doing whatever the hell they want, because they're near impossible to kill and hold down. New Zealand, what's up, Ben? This is actually probably my favorite part about streaming at this hour. Even though this is a weird hour and people tend to not show up due to like work and, you know, all that. They'll only really show up if they're on break or something. This was also the hour of day when I would stream Hawken back in the day. When, you know, Hawken was still a game that wasn't like a weird reboot that no one likes. And like I would get people from like Norway and just like all over. Australian crowd, New Zealand, like all of it. They would swing in and be like, hey man, what's up? And I don't know, I like that. It's probably one of my favorite parts of streaming is getting the international crowd to swing by and be like, yo, what up? How's it going? That was an odd thing I discovered back when I used to post stuff on DeviantArt. So I wasn't smart enough to understand that you probably want to post at certain hours of the day if you're looking for certain crowds to check your stuff out. Because I would always post the moment my artwork was done. I wouldn't like schedule the post. I wouldn't do anything. I would just post it. And because I was a college kid at the time, my artwork would get done at like 4 in the morning. So like I was getting viewership on it, people were liking it, following it, commenting on it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And eventually DeviantArt was like, all right, we're gonna tell you the people, we're gonna give you the metrics of who's interested in what you're doing, we're gonna show you where they're coming from. And like everyone that was checking my stuff out, Poland, all of them. Every single one of them. I was like, whoa. And it was quite literally because I was posting it up at like 4 a.m. when they were deciding as a nation that they would hop on DeviantArt and check stuff out. Crazy. So how's everyone doing? We are painting my vet guard while we wait for the bases on my Kroot to dry. We actually just tried out So Flat black paint on one little part of one of my Kroot Farstalkers, and I like it. It's really smooth as a paint. It didn't really need to get thinned down all that much to use, which is good. No, yeah, that's what I figured. This is like the UK times. I watch a lot of GTA roleplay server stuff, and it's interesting because as a community, they've sort of organized time shifts in that community related to when the viewership usually occurs. Like there's Australian hours, there's European hours, and then there's American hours. And they've sort of gotten it down to a science for hours of day when people in those countries are able to watch what you're doing. Which is interesting to hear from like a community like that where you don't expect it. But they did kind of turn viewership into their business. I mean, it is a business model for them. I mean, it's how most of them survive. There were a few of the people in those servers that I watched where when I was watching them, they didn't have a ton of viewership. And I was like, how are they streaming? Like, how is this what they do if they only get like 10 or 12 viewers and they've been doing it for like this long? But then I'd like wake up earlier and I'd check and I'd see that they're on and I'd be like, oh, they're on really early. And that's when they have like 500, 600 viewers. And it's because most people in like the Australian region know them, not the US. That's why they stream Australian hours. It's like, oh, that's weird. Kind of cool. Weird little meta concepts for streaming. But it's good. It's probably good to stream European hours when you're painting 40K stuff. But yeah, thanks for swinging in, guys. Thanks for the donos. Don't forget to, you know, subscribe. All the cringe things I'm supposed to say right now. Hopefully I can get more videos coming out for you guys. I have a hobby video of me modifying my castigator to look like a chaos castigator for the Chaos Knights. I really want to get that out because it was a really fun process and it's a really amazing looking model now. I love it. But we got some tournaments coming up and I'm trying to get my stuff together so that I can properly record battle report stuff for you. I want to be able to take like cliff notes of the turns that occur. That way I know like, oh, my one character died this round, or oh, I rolled like no tomorrow with all my saves. Ooh, blooded. I want to make a blooded team, man. But I think I want to convert them. I don't want to just buy the blooded and go with it. I think I want to try to convert. Technically, I feel like you could make a good GSC-based blooded team. Does GSC have the Abominant, which would make for a good freaking Ogren? I think they could make a really good blooded team visually. Dude, that thing was fun as hell to build. It took like a month though, but it was fun. It's why I am debating being like, all right, I'm gonna play Chaos Knights at this tournament. I'm just doing it. I'm going pure Chaos Knights. I'm not even gonna use, well, no, I kind of have to use. I feel like the new meta right now in the local area for Knights is 3 large Knights and a couple small Knights and then a couple allies that are deep strikeable. At which point I would probably use a Desecrator, a Despoiler, and the Castigator. And then I would probably use a couple Executioners and a Brigand, most likely. And then, of course, I would probably try to fill out with as many Tzeentch Demons that I have on hand, even though, of course, everyone knows Nurgle is more interesting. Black Forest Trader Guard, nice. Black Fortress. I just finished painting all my Black Fortress stuff. And varnishing and getting it all together. They were fun. Just because of how different they are, man. Having to go from being like, let me paint this Eldar, to let me paint this Navigator, to let me paint this Space Marine. I got the Black Fortress stuff through the combat arena that I think Barnes & Noble put out for like $30. So good. Such a good price. I'm also debating trying to run I don't even know if this would be possible with you guys, because we're pretty inconsistent as a community of watchers here. But like, I bought Wrath and Glory's starter set, and I do kind of want to learn how to play it and like host the games and DM it and stuff. Because there's a lot of channels on YouTube right now that do like the D&D campaign things, but I don't feel like there's a lot that do Wrath and Glory. And I think it could be kind of cool because there is a lot of tech. The thing you're seeing right now with my little character who's animated in the corner whenever I talk, that exists as a Discord plugin as well, to my understanding. I'd have to ask someone that I know that uses it so that I can actually make it so that there's multiple people on screen like this, that whenever they talk it like lights up or it moves or something. And if I could find a consistent group to be able to stream and play Wrath and Glory, I think that could be kind of cool. About 15 more minutes. We might get the coats done, we might not. Again, the goal, apparently this is Steel Legion. Sort of black with dark blue edge, Under Armour and cloth and stuff. With a beige coat over top of it. For the beige coat, we are using Sand Golem from Speed Paint, and then we are doing layer paint over top of that with Zamasi Desert. Because I like contrast, I like that, I like speed paints, I like stuff like that, but I mostly like them as underpainting, right? Like having them be an underpaint that you can work off of with layer on top of it just looks so good. Because you get the inconsistency of an underpainting with the contrast, and then you can just kind of readjust how the flat surfaces feel texture-wise with layer, which is just really good. Means you don't have to worry as much when you get like the weird bubbles and stuff with some of the contrasts and speed paints that occur. You can leave them and not even worry about them because they're gonna get covered up anyway. I do have to leave kind of early though. I have to be there in about a half an hour, but I do need to leave kind of early. So we might only have like 10 minutes. Because I need to grab all my stuff for the Underworlds tournament. I need to write down a ton of things. I need to go over the rules. I've played literally one game of Underworlds prior to this tournament. That was my learning game, and I get most of it. I know most of the terminology, the concept of surge, interruptive abilities. I know that I'm going to need to pay attention to my missions deck before I start playing, because you need to kind of set your board up based on your missions deck, because you need to try to achieve your missions as fast as possible in the game while being able to protect yourself and do damage and all that. So I know that Ephelim's Rivals deck is very objective related with a little bit of damage potential, but that means when I'm setting up my board, I might be an asshole. Because I know you can set the boards up long ways, and if you're trying to keep your people alive for a while and do the missions, that's what you need. I need to set it up basically in that fashion, and I might even need to choke point the map by doing that little like half spread thing that happens where you kind of caddy corner the edge a little bit so that there's only like 3 or 4 hexes to get into my zone, and then I just clog it up with one of my monsters fully decked out with like armor rerolls and stuff. I'm gonna change this ambient music. It's not a good way to end it. I can't wait. I do want to do a video on sort of a baseline of how to with Underworlds. I kind of want to do what I did for Kill Team with Underworlds for people, because Underworlds is a very good game, and the fact that they're still sort of, you know, supporting it. They just dropped the Mirrored Tower thing, which was a revamp of like 4 older teams to try to bring them up to date with the newer rules, which is really good that they're like, oh yeah, we even revamped our older teams to work in the new rules. Like, it's pretty cool. And honestly, Rivals is really fun. The one where you have to build a deck, that's a little sweaty. But like, if you have a local league that's thinking of playing Underworlds and you want to keep it casual, Rivals. Rivals is good. So good. Pre-built decks. Specific boards, which I do have to grab as well. I gotta grab the one board that's here. Because I bought the starter set as well. So I have 4 boards to choose from. I also need to figure out which role is better for me to take. I think whatever version of the game makes me set the board up personally, that's the position I need to take. Like, that's my stronger position as an army. Because I think that also means I set up where more of the objectives on the board, which, again, Ephelim's works around objectives, so I'm going to want to have control of that. Try to place as many objectives on my side as possible. I'm going to go into this a little sweaty. Just a little. I don't know enough about all the other teams to fully be sweat. Like, I can't play into, like, completely screwing over one of the other teams. Like, if someone busts out Mogrogs, I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to place the board like this. Get screwed, and just, like, rush through my opponent like they're nothing. But I, at the very least, want to maximize my ability to win through my own functions. I'm going to take 2 teams, though, with me, because if somebody else wants to play, I do have that other Stormcast team that's only 3 people, so it's not a lot to think about when you're playing it. Someone can use them if they want. No, yeah. I'm not going full sweat. Like, I feel like you're at maximum tier sweatage when you know the limits of your opponent and you're messing with them because of those limits. Like, oh, I know the list you're playing, so I know you need access to this side of the board or else you're not going to get victory points. Guess what? You're never going to be on that side of the board. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that to someone. Or at least I can't necessarily, I guess would be the better way to put it. I got a little bit of paint left. We're going to try to get this guy's coat done, and then we're probably going to call it for today. Hopefully we can stream tomorrow. I don't know. You know, check out the Discord, Twitter. I need to start pushing my Twitter more. Completely keep forgetting that I have a Twitter and that people can check it out. Although, I don't know. One of those things, man. Twitter's getting weird with the whole, like, shift to X concept. I think what the recent news was, he was going to try to charge people who are new, who make new accounts on X, so that they can post and like and all that. It's like, oh, I don't know, man. I know there's all those other social media outlets, but, like, I don't know, maybe we'll try one. I just want to make sure people get notified of what we're doing for the channel. That way you at least know if something's coming up. Because I am a little bit, like, not on schedule, right? I don't make enough from this right now to hyper-focus on it to the point where you guys are getting, like, near weekly content, let alone near maybe daily content. Because I got to do other stuff. So it's usually a good idea to have at least some line of communication with people so that they know I've got videos coming or that I'm working on things that they might be interested in. which is good. But yeah, I'm thinking Castigator video next. That's what I'm leaning into. It's going to be a bit because I got to try to script it well. I have a ton of B-roll. Ton of B-roll. I recorded almost everything when we were live streaming the build of it. And then I recorded gameplay. Oh, I've got so much stuff, man. He's such a cool model, too. I love him. I didn't record rebasing him. That was a trip. The fact that the base was bent. Oh my god. Alright. We've still got 3 coats to go. Servo focus. Rah. So I gotta gather stuff up here. We are kicking it though, man. These guys are coming together. Ah! Magnets! We'll have the vet guard done. So, oh god. So that little black strip there is the so flat. I want to see what it looks like on the actual base ring. Let me brighten this up for you guys. Pull back a little bit. That's too bright. But yeah, our recruit came out pretty well. We're waiting for the basing texture paste to dry because it's crackle paste. So it'll give the base top like a lot of little detail. We're probably gonna Garrigax sewer wash it when it's done. Yeah, these guys were fun. I'm loving the bird. Did the burb. Farstalkers, baby. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Hopefully I see some of you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we stream tomorrow. We got more of this to do, so, you know. And don't worry. We are stacked with projects going forward still. I have those 4 new Underworlds teams. I also bought the starter set, which means technically I need to glue another 2 teams together, which will also join the Underworlds collection that I have. And then we have, what else? We've got Breachers. We've got the Breachers kill team that I gotta paint. And like I was talking about earlier, there is a chance I'm about to buy some Ozark Bone Reaper models to get the, to get my other Demon Princes kind of cheaply put together. Because, yeah, I'm not paying, what is it? 300, no. So it's 160 for 2, which means $320 for the final 4 Demon Princes I would want. Versus, I want to say 130 for the boxes I'm looking at as models that could easily take their places. Friday stream, I'm unsure. I might need to help my parents. They are still working on moving into their new place. They're getting it set up so that they can start getting the rest of their stuff over there. And I am basically helping them wire and move everything in that place. Like, I've installed so many ceiling lights, fans, frickin' shelving units and stuff, and their closet. It's a lot. I'm hoping I can stream tomorrow, but it's a bit iffy. So, yeah, maybe. Until then, though, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for talking. Don't forget to like, subscribe, whatever. I might start posting these VODs now that I'm doing different thumbnails for them. We'll see. We'll see what's up. Till next time, guys. Later.